Yes, he did. No one else is responsible for the hell you live in more than God. And that's why God created me to take you out of hell. You know, and that's why I'm attacked on so many different levels. Uh, I've been kicked out of my town, kicked out of my house, and I'm not bitter. I know you can. The unwell people will turn this into like a bitch session, or I'm bitter, or I'm angry, and I'm not. I'm not. I'm actually better off uh, having this done to me. God put me in a better place and took me away from all the trouble. And people that had access to me no longer have access to me. And most people are like, "Way to go!" I don't know about that, but they don't have access to me. You know, in my town, Franklin Square, New York, Nassau County, is highly mob run. It's a mob run town. There's a mob headquarters, like a social club that they all hang out at. All the stores, the commercial real estate is owned by the mob, and they have to pay their rent, and they have to pay the mob a cut besides the rent, and it's all in cash. And it's all on Hensel Turnpike, right by OTB. It's the soccer club. It's that corner with the jewelry store and the soccer club and the Italian restaurant, you know. And they run Nassau County. They don't just run Franklin Square. They run Nassau County. And Blakeman's bought off by them. The county executive of Nassau County is bought off by them. Blakeman. He's running for governor. Surprise, surprise. You know. And but the point is, if you're not bought off by them, if you don't accept the money, they have ways of dealing with you. And it's I don't want to say how they do it. They just do it. They make suicides look like suicides, and they're not. And to go to that extent, and some of them are blatant. They don't even try to cover it up because they want to send a message, and that's why they do it that way. So everybody knows who did it and why, and don't you do it too. Don't even think of doing it because this is going to happen to you if you do. And that's the message. And they got the cops in their pockets. They got the judges. They got the DA. They got everybody in their pocket, and you could be sure of it. And I think I killed the Nassau County Sands Casino deal. I was very vocal about that, and I put that out there about all the prostitution and loan sharking and bookmaking and all that would be going on if they allowed that casino to happen. And it was going to be right on the doorstep of Garden City, which is where all the mobsters live. And, you know, a lot of the mobsters live in Old Westbury too. But it wouldn't be close, it wouldn't be far from there, and they would have a lot of problems with the casino being so close. And they killed it. It didn't go through, and rightfully so. But they threaten you. They strong arm you. They try to. We're gonna beat you up if you don't do this, or if you say that, we're gonna get you. And whether they do or not, it really doesn't. It doesn't matter to me. Uh, but that's their tactics. That's like Donald Trump has his tactics, or the mob has their tactics, and the mob's in bed with Donald Trump as well. And the Catholic Church is in bed with the mob. I mean, look, where is the Vatican? But in Italy, in Rome, where the headquarters of mob, of the Italian mob. It's the headquarters, and you think they didn't cross the street and say, "Hey, you," you know? No. believe me, they're all in bed with each other, and all of this is under the rug, under the radar, and unless you cause a problem like I'm causing now, unless you cause a problem, you don't hear about it. You don't see it on TV. You don't read it in the newspaper. Uh, the only thing you get in the newspaper is when the FBI acts like they're doing their job, and which they're not, and arrest like 30 mobsters in one day. That's how they do it. They have to do it that way because they would all get on a plane and go back to Italy, and be stuck, and then the FBI would never get them. But that's why they do those operations like that. But the FBI is on their payroll as well, and you know, I'm not saying there's not good people in any of these organizations that I just mentioned, but they're overpowered and they're scared to death. You know, it's like you get charges against somebody and you find out their $1 million lawyer found a loophole and the charges are dropped. And now this maniac's on the street looking to get you because you got him arrested. And who wants that? So there's a lot of reason why people don't stick their neck out and try to get these people. And I would say on a conservative effort, if everybody that had a run in with the mob in Franklin Square or anywhere in the country or the world, put it on YouTube. You don't have to put your picture, your face. You can wear a mask. You can put it on an anonymous account. You can put it on YouTube, and it might it'll be uh, the collective is what you're looking for. So one piece of the collective. As you build the collective, you know, it might have an effect. You might end things. Look, you paid $12 for uh, a bagel and cream cheese and a coffee because the mom's got to get their cut. That bagel could be $6 or $5, but it's $12 because they got to give them the mom their cut. And that affects every business. The Sandcastle in Franklin Square is a catering hall, and it's a complete mob. And you don't have a wedding there unless you pay a cut to the mob. And the Republicans have their little conventions at that catering hall. Wonder why? And it's all mob. It's all mob. And nobody cares until they walk down a dark alley with a bunch of mobsters. It's like, it's not happening to me. I don't get. And that's why they get away with it. That's how they function for so long. With the gambling and the drugs. The drugs is forget it. How many people have been unalive because of what the mob's done with drugs? And the government's involved in that as well. The government is the biggest drug dealer on the planet. The U.S. government, it's funny. The Iran Contra, they were selling drugs for weapons. The Contras gave us drugs and we gave them weapons. What do you think we did with those drugs? You think we confiscated them? No, they sold them. They flooded the streets. That's where crack came from. So, yeah. And they put it in the black neighborhoods to screw all the black people and make them uh, addicted to drugs, so they're weaker, they're financially poorer. Everybody in around is tortured by their brother or sister-in-law or that does the crack or does the drugs, and it makes everybody gets sick in the environment, and that was the whole point of it, you know. And I think fentanyl is just population control by the CIA. Unleashing fentanyl on our society is getting rid of the people that we don't care about. Who cares about a heroin addict? I mean, who cares? And if they die, well, going and doing heroin, there's a good chance you're gonna. So it's not a surprise. And if you do, you do. And it's one less house we got to build, and one less uh, person we got to feed, and maybe he won't have a family that we got to feed, and everything else. So it's population control. And yeah, But it's all a system. It's all part of the system. The mob, the government, the cops. It's all part of the system, and they're corrupt. And who do they promote? The people that come up with a new business idea. Why do they promote them? Because they're going to pay a payoff to the mob. They're going to pay a payoff to the cops. They're going to pay a payoff to the politicians. That's why they get promoted and get up, leveled up. You know, and if you're not going to start a business or make money like that, then you're just a spoke in the wheel, and they don't really care about you until you start causing problems, and then they'll deal with you. You know, you have broken spoke in your wheel, you take it out and you put a new one in. And that's what they do to you. They take you out and they put a new one in. And the wheel keeps turning. So, you know, uh, it's all about the Benjamins. It's all about the Benjamins. That's all they care about. And the funny thing is, they got so many Benjamins, they don't know what to do with them. And they are totally invested in crypto. They are running the crypto like crazy. It's a big scam, and the mob's involved completely. And they have a lot to lose, but I think they got their bets hedged a little bit. So if anything happened, they wouldn't lose it all. Um, but they get a lot into it. It's kind of hard for them not to because they can, because of the anonymous part of crypto, you know, which they want to be, and they can shuffle drug money and gambling money and all that stuff. I mean, look, legal sports gambling, and the mob's already involved in fixing games and trying to get coaches and players to throw games and skim points and all that stuff. So it doesn't stop. They're always going to be there. Uh, you know, whatever you do, you know, it's like we're going to have the poor for the rest of our life. We're going to have the mob for the rest of our life. But that doesn't mean we don't do anything. You know, just like the poor, we're going to have poor for the rest of our life. But it doesn't mean you don't try to help the poor. And if you're gonna have mob for the rest of our life, it doesn't mean you don't not try to stop the mob and make it harder for them, you know. And that's what that's what I'm trying to say is make their life harder because they make all of our lives harder. When you're paying $12 for a bagel and a coffee, that's your life is hard, and it's gonna be harder. And you don't need to do that. You don't need to live like that. And the son of a bitches that take that money and spend it on a $200 dinner at a restaurant uh, that they can't afford if they didn't take your money because they don't have a real job. They have no education. All they do is strong arm businesses into paying them. You know, and like if you don't pay us, we'll set your building on fire and stuff like that. And a lot of your fires, if you look deeper into them, it's because they didn't make a mild payment and stuff like that. And the fire marshals, they don't get into that. They don't. That never comes up, but it's true. Uh, you know, put the mob out of business.